Chosen one, listen to the vibration of my voice right now, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter every lingering doubt you've ever had about your true identity. Before we dive into the mystery of the last 3 weeks, hear what the Spirit is whispering to your soul in this very second. My child, stop trying to prove your worth to those who are spiritually blind. I have already seated you in high places. While they plot your downfall, I am preparing your coronation. Your stillness is not your weakness. It is your greatest weapon. Trust me, for the battle is no longer yours. Now, do not treat this moment lightly. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't just another video in your feed. About 3 weeks ago, your enemies reached a level of desperation so profound, so absolutely calculated, that they did the unthinkable. They crossed the boundary between the physical world and the spiritual dimension. They didn't just talk about you. They didn't just spread rumors in the natural realm. They took your image, your very photograph, and they presented it to an angel. I'm not speaking in metaphors here. I'm not being poetic. I am describing a literal celestial event where those who despise you accessed a spiritual frequency specifically to demand a judgment against you. They were so convinced of their own toxic narrative that they expected heaven to validate their hate. They expected the celestial authorities to look at your photo and say, yes, this person is as unworthy as their enemies claim. They wanted a divine guilty verdict, but what happened next didn't just shock them, it terrified them. When the angel looked at your essence through that image, he didn't point a finger of condemnation. He didn't offer a nod of casual recognition. This angel, a warrior of the higher dimensions, did something so shocking that even I had to pause my own work to witness it. He bowed, a full, deep, reverent bow that is reserved only for souls carrying the signature marks of the highest realms. Your enemies thought they were exposing you to your judge. Instead, they accidentally delivered your identity to your own celestial army. They triggered a recognition of who you have always been. And right now, your life is being repositioned because of that one angelic gesture. If you can feel the air in the room getting heavy, if you can feel a strange electric warmth in your chest, stay exactly where you are. We are just scratching the surface. If you click away in the next 60 seconds, you will miss the blueprint of the mirror protocol that has already been activated over your life. You are not an ordinary soul being judged by human standards. You are a chosen one being recognized by forces that have been guarding your path since before you took your first breath. Stay with me, because in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you why this angelic reverence has completely destroyed every strategy your enemies had planned for the rest of 2026. I am going to reveal the level 7 protection that has been placed around your name, a shield so powerful that any attack directed at you now returns to the sender with 7-fold intensity. If you leave now, you'll go back to the anxiety and the fear of what they might do next. But if you stay, you will walk away knowing that you are officially untouchable in the spirit. You see, your enemies made a catastrophic miscalculation. They interpreted your recent silence as defeat. They thought your refusal to fight back meant you had no power left. They mistook your dignity for a white flag. So, they decided to escalate. They went to the dark corners. They consulted practitioners. They spent their time and money trying to find a spiritual loophole to destroy you. They thought that by bringing your identity before a celestial authority, they would finally get the green light to take you out. But angels don't see what humans see. They don't listen to the gossip. They don't care about the screenshots or the twisted stories your enemies have been telling. An angel recognizes a general's insignia the moment they see it. They saw the mark on you, the signature frequency of a soul on a critical mission. And when that angel bowed, the entire jurisdiction of your life changed. You are no longer under the laws of human malice. You have been moved under divine jurisdiction. I want you to prepare yourself, because the revelation I'm sharing is being suppressed by those who don't want you to know just how much backup you actually have. They want you to feel isolated. They want you to think you're fighting this alone. But the council has already met. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, the names you've heard in stories are no longer just characters. They are currently the architects of your defense. Before we move into the exact details of how this protection works in the 3 specific tests you passed to qualify for it, I need you to realize that your restraint was the key. You had the power to destroy them, didn't you? You had the evidence, you had the words. You could have pressed send and ended it all, but you didn't. And that one choice, that moment of supreme celestial wisdom, is what caught my attention and triggered everything that follows. As we transition into the next part of this revelation, I'm going to take you back to that exact night between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. when you were alone with your rage and your hurt. I'm going to show you why your decision to delete that message wasn't just being the bigger person. It was a spiritual maneuver that qualified you for the highest level of angelic shielding available to a human being. Let's look at the secret moment that changed your entire destiny. To understand why a celestial warrior bowed at the sight of your image, we have to travel back to a moment that most of the world completely missed, but heaven recorded in high definition. I want to take you back exactly 3 weeks ago. I watched this unfold in real time, and it was one of the most magnificent displays of spiritual maturity I have witnessed in years. It was likely late at night, somewhere in that thin, quiet window between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., the hours when the veil is thinnest and the soul is most vulnerable. You were alone. The room was quiet, but your mind was a battlefield. Something devastating had just landed in your lap. Maybe it was a betrayal from someone you would have taken a bullet for. Maybe it was a vicious, calculated lie spread by people who wanted to see your reputation go up in flames. You had every reason to be consumed by a righteous, burning rage. And the most dangerous part, you had the ammunition, you had the receipts, you had the screenshots, the recordings, and the witnesses. You held the nuclear option in the palm of your hand. You had the power to hit send and watch their entire world crumble into ash. You were justified. Nobody, not even the most saintly person you know, would have blamed you for defending yourself. In that moment, devastating sentences were forming in your mind. You knew exactly how to phrase it. You knew exactly where it would hurt them the most. Your finger was hovering over that button, trembling with the weight of years of mistreatment. But then, something happened that made the stars hold their breath. You didn't stop because you were afraid of the fallout. You didn't stop because you were weak. You stopped because a voice deeper than your pain, a frequency wiser than your revenge, spoke to the core of your being. In a split second of supreme celestial consciousness, you deleted the draft. You put the phone down. You chose a silence that was louder than any shout. You chose a dignity that was sharper than any insult. You chose restraint when the world would have cheered for your war. Hear what the Father says about that night, my chosen one. That was the moment you graduated. You proved that you are no longer a slave to your emotions, but a master of your spirit. When you refused to descend into the mud with your enemies, you ascended to a throne they cannot even see. Your silence wasn't a surrender. It was a signature of royalty. That singular choice generated a frequency that tore through the dimensions and reached the highest courts of light. It wasn't just what you prevented, it was what you revealed. You demonstrated a level of wisdom that mirrors the very counsel of heaven. While you were choosing peace, your enemies were watching from the sidelines, and they made a catastrophic, fatal error in their judgment. They saw your silence and they interpreted it as defeat. They looked at your restraint and they called it weakness. They actually believed that because you didn't strike back. It meant you were powerless, broken, and finished. Their spiritual ignorance is truly staggering because they couldn't perceive the power in your peace. They decided it was time to move in for the kill. They decided to escalate the conflict from the physical to the spiritual. This is where their malice crossed the line into total insanity. They were so convinced of your inadequacy that they spent their time, their energy, and their money trying to access realms they had no business touching. They consulted practitioners. They performed rituals. They navigated through spiritual channels that most people think are just fairy tales. They were searching for a divine stamp of approval for their hatred. They wanted an authority higher than human law to tell them, yes, this soul is as worthless as you say they are. They managed to present your identity, your very image, to a celestial authority expecting a condemnation that would justify their lifelong jealousy. They expected the angel to see the problematic person they had created in their own minds. But they forgot one fundamental truth. Angels do not see through the lens of human envy. They don't listen to the static of earthly gossip. When that angel received your photograph, recognition was immediate. It was automatic. It was as if a soldier had suddenly realized he was standing in the presence of a five-star general. There was no need for a trial. There was no need for an investigation. The angel saw the signature marks of a higher dimension written all over your essence. He saw the fire you've been carrying. He saw the seal of the chosen one. And that is why he bowed. That singular gesture of hierarchical recognition didn't just honor you, it destroyed every single strategy your enemies had been building against you for decades. The moment that angel's head lowered in reverence, the legal standing of your enemies in the spiritual realm was permanently revoked. They went from being the accusers to being the trespassers. They realized, with a terror that now keeps them awake at night, that you are not the person they convinced themselves you were. They tried to expose your unworthiness, but all they did was expose their own spiritual blindness. They wanted celestial condemnation, but all they triggered was celestial activation. If you are starting to understand that the very plan your enemies designed for your destruction has actually become the engine for your elevation, then you are ready for what comes next. Because the angel didn't just bow and leave. What happened in the moments following that recognition is what has turned you into a spiritual untouchable. You need to understand that you aren't just being watched over, you are being shielded by a protocol that most souls don't even know exists. Stay with me, because as we move into the next section, I'm going to reveal the level 7 protection that has been wrapped around your life. I'm going to explain the mirror protocol, the celestial radar that is currently monitoring every single person who is even thinking about sabotaging you. If you leave now, you'll miss the description of the celestial army that was assigned to you the moment that angel bowed. You need to know who is standing at your door tonight. We are moving from the why of your restraint to the how of your protection. The shift has happened. The rules of your reality have fundamentally transformed. Your enemies are confused because their old tricks aren't working anymore. And I'm about to show you exactly why. Let's look at the emergency council that was called specifically for you. And the four archangels who have taken up their posts around your life, we have explored the secret of your restraint. But now we must discuss the consequence of that angelic bow. You see, reverence was just the beginning of what that celestial warrior did when he saw your image. What happened next is exactly what has been keeping your enemies in a state of sheer terror every single day for the last 3 weeks. The moment that angel recognized the signature frequency of your soul, he didn't just stand back. He activated maximum protection protocols around your entire identity. I need you to understand that this isn't the standard spiritual coverage that most people receive. We are talking about level 7 protection, the highest classification of angelic shielding in existence. A defense system reserved exclusively for chosen ones who are carrying out critical missions in this earthly dimension. This activation has effectively transformed you into a spiritual untouchable. You have entered a realm where the rules of engagement have been rewritten in your favor. Think of it like a celestial fortress being built around your name, your family, and your peace. But the most powerful part of this shield is what I call the mirror protocol. This is a sophisticated, automatic energetic field that functions like a celestial radar. It is constantly monitoring the spiritual atmosphere around you, scanning for anyone who is nurturing sabotage thoughts, anyone who is articulating conspiracies for your destruction, or anyone planning strategies to bring you down. And here is the hook that the enemy never saw coming when this angelic shielding detects a threat. It doesn't just block it, it reflects the attack back to its source with proportional, multiplied intensity. Hear the Father's decree over your defense. My child, you have stood your ground in silence. So now I am standing as your shield. Any tongue that rises against you shall be silenced by its own words. Any hand that reaches to pull you down shall find itself empty. You are no longer defending yourself. I have assigned the hosts of heaven to be your rear guard. What they intended for your shame, I am turning into the very platform for your glory because of this mirror protocol. Your enemies are currently in a state of profound confusion. They are looking at their ways and seeing strategies that worked for them for decades suddenly blowing up in their faces. Plans that should have succeeded are inexplicably failing. The support they counted on from others is vanishing like mist. They can't understand what changed because this protection operates in a dimension they don't perceive and cannot access. They don't realize that every criticism they whisper behind your back is returning to them as criticism others speak behind theirs. Every opportunity they tried to sabotage for you is manifesting as an opportunity sabotage for them. It is a system of perfect, cosmic justice. They attack someone I decided to protect. And when I protect someone, the very laws of their reality are fundamentally transformed. But I want to take you deeper into the command center of this protection. When you pass the final test of your character, I called an emergency council. This wasn't a casual meeting. This was a gathering of the highest authorities in the celestial realms. Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel, the four archangels, who rarely convene unless the matter is of the highest strategic importance, gathered specifically to discuss you. I presented your record to them. I showed them your persistence. I showed them your refusal to break under the pressure. And the vote was immediate and unanimous, authorization granted. I said, 7 archangels have now been assigned specifically to your life, operating in a coordinated defense that most humans will never experience in their lifetime. Let me break down who is standing guard over you right now. Michael is your chief of defense. He is the one handling the direct attacks. He is standing at the perimeter of your energy field at this very second, holding a sword of flaming truth. Any weapon formed against you, any occult strategy, any dark conspiracy gets blocked before it even reaches your awareness. And Michael is also the one training you in your dreams. Have you had those dreams lately where you're fighting, where you're defending a territory, or where you're moving with an authority you don't feel in the day? That is Michael conducting spiritual warfare training, preparing your spirit for the heights you are about to scale. Then there is Raphael. He is the one accelerating your healing from the wounds your enemies inflicted. He is working on your emotional recovery, your mental restoration, and your spiritual renewal right now. Even while you are hearing these words, that unexplainable peace you feel sometimes, that sudden reset in your nervous system when everything around you is still a mess, that is Raphael's healing frequencies recalibrating your heart. He is making sure that when you step into your promotion, you aren't carrying the limp of your past. Uriel is currently downloading wisdom directly into your consciousness. Those sudden insights that seem to come from nowhere. Those solutions to problems that used to keep you up all night. And those moments of startling clarity, that is Uriel transferring knowledge from the celestial databases into your mind. He is sharpening your discernment, showing you the energetic signatures of people around you so you can recognize deception before it even opens its mouth. You're starting to see through the masks, aren't you? That's Uriel alerting you to the truth. And Gabriel, he is the one orchestrating the communication. He is opening channels between you and the resources you need. He is the one arranging the coincidental meetings and positioning the right people in your path. He is also activating your voice. You're going to feel a sudden, compelling urge to speak truths you've been silent about for years. That is Gabriel preparing you to deliver the messages of the kingdom. Stay with me, because this level of protection is just the foundation for the 7 signs of confirmation that are about to manifest in your physical world. If you leave this video now, you will walk away with the theory, but you will miss the specific marker points you need to look for in the next 60 days. You need to know how to recognize when the mirror protocol has officially taken down a hidden enemy. We are moving from the description of your army to the evidence of their work. Your life is shifting in ways you might not have noticed yet, but the signs are becoming undeniable. I am going to show you exactly how to read the celestial radar in your own daily life. But before we get to the signs, we have to talk about the why. Why did you qualify for level 7? Why did these archangels agree to stand guard over your name? It all comes back to 3 specific, grueling tests that you passed when you didn't even know you were being evaluated. Let's look at the three valley moments that proved you were a chosen one. We have seen the angelic hosts taking their positions, and we have felt the weight, what might be eight of the level 7 shielding. But now we have to answer the most important question of all. Why you see? The protection of the archangels isn't handed out like a participation trophy. It isn't granted because you're nice or because you've never made a mistake. In the economy of heaven, this level of defense is earned in the fire. You didn't just stumble into this promotion. You were evaluated, scrutinized, and tested in ways that would have crushed an ordinary soul. Before I reveal the 7 signs of confirmation that are currently manifesting in your life, I need to take you back to the valley moments. I need to show you the 3 distinct, grueling tests that you passed, tests that were specifically designed to determine if you carry the character required to steward a mission of global impact. Listen to the Father's heart as he reflects onto your journey, my chosen one. I watched every moment of your struggle. I saw the nights you thought you were failing, but in my eyes, you were winning. You didn't realize that every no from the world was a yes from me. Every time you refused to give up, you were signing your own promotion. You are not a victim of your past. You are the victor of my trials. The first evaluation was the collapse without surrender. Think back to that season. It was likely within the last year or two when everything seemed to fall apart at once. It wasn't just one problem. It was a domino effect of devastation. Your finances took a hit you didn't see coming. A relationship you thought was your forever walked out the door without a single word of explanation. Your health started to brittle under the weight of the stress. It felt like the very machine beneath your feet was turning into quicksand. You had every logical, rational reason to throw in the towel. People around you even gave you permission to quit. They said, nobody would blame you if you just stayed in bed. Nobody would judge if you walked away from it all. But something inside of you, something deeper than your logic and stronger than your pain, simply refused to stay down. You didn't have a plan. You didn't have hope. You didn't see a single solution on the horizon. But you got out of bed anyway. You took one more step when your legs were shaking. You whispered one more prayer when your voice was a jagged edge. You continued to breathe when stopping would have been so much easier. That refusal to surrender when the collapse was inevitable, that was your first test, and you passed it with flying colors. Heaven watched as you chose to endure when the world expected you to fold. The second evaluation was the impossible decision. You were placed in a lose-lose scenario where there was no easy way out. You were forced to choose between 2 paths that both carried a heavy cost. One path offered you immediate financial stability, professional advancement, or social acceptance, but it required you to bend your integrity. It required you to participate in a white lie, to overlook an injustice, or to compromise the very values that make you who you are. The other path meant struggle, loneliness, and professional obscurity, but it allowed you to keep your soul intact. In a world that celebrates the hustle and the shortcut, you chose the hard right over the easy wrong. You chose dignity over convenience. You chose to be a nobody with a clean conscience rather than a somebody with a fractured spirit. You made a choice that aligned with the celestial frequency, even when the earthly consequences were painful. That commitment to integrity, when compromise was the only logical escape, that was your second test. And the moment you made that decision, the recording angels made a note. This soul can be trusted with the weight of the king's business. The third and final evaluation was continuation against all evidence. This was perhaps the most grueling of them all. You were called to work towards something, the dream, a ministry, a creative project, or a family restoration that showed absolutely zero signs of progress for years. You were building in a drought. You were planting in a desert. Everyone watching you thought you were foolish. They told you to be realistic. They implied you were wasting your time, your money, and your energy on a fantasy. You had no validation. You had no applause. You had no evidence that your efforts mattered to anyone. But you couldn't stop. You maintained your faith when the circumstances screamed that you were failing. You kept showing up to the empty field day after day, week after week, month after month. You held on to a knowing that defied the seeing, that persistence without a shred of evidence. That was your third test. And when you didn't quit after the third year or the fifth year, the Council of Archangels stood and applauded. They saw a soul that operates from a level of consciousness that recognizes truth even when reality is a lie. These three tests, the collapse, the decision, and the persistence, are what qualify you for the level 7 protection we discussed. You prove that you aren't just a fan of the divine, you are a partner. You prove that you operate from a frequency that mirrors the wisdom of the celestial realms. And because you passed, I want you to look around you. The atmosphere is different now, isn't it? The air feels thicker with purpose. That's because your angelic protection is no longer a future promise. It is a present operational reality. Stay with me, because as we move into the next segment, I am going to reveal the 7 signs of confirmation that prove this protection is working right now. I'm going to show you how to spot the Archangel's signature in your daily life, from the way toxic people are suddenly disappearing to the strange synchronicities that are beginning to happen with your finances. If you leave now, you'll have the knowledge of your promotion, but you won't have the eyes to see it manifest. We are moving from the history of the fire into the evidence of the favor. Your life is about to shift in ways that will make people ask for your secret. I'm going to show you exactly how the mirror protocol is currently dismantling the very people who thought they had destroyed you. But first, let's look at the 7 unmistakable signs that Raphael, Michael, and Gabriel have officially started the reorganization of your entire world. Let's look at the evidence that the tide has finally, officially turned in your favor. This brings us to this moment of absolute clarity. You've survived the fire. You've passed the 3 grueling tests of the chosen. And you now know that an army of archangels has been authorized to stand as your shield. But how do you know, in the raw reality of your daily life, that this isn't just a beautiful theory? How do you know that level 7 protection is actively breathing down the neck of your enemies right now? There are 7 unmistakable signs that confirm the mirror. Protocol is operational in your world. And as I reveal them, I need you to listen with your spirit, not just your ears, because these signs are the celestial fingerprints on your physical reality. The first sign is a sudden, unexplainable surge in impossible synchronicities. Have you noticed it? You think of a person you haven't spoken to in years, and your phone buzzes with a text from them seconds later. You have a specific question about your future, and a random song on the radio or a stranger's conversation in a coffee shop gives you the exact answer. You keep seeing 111444 and especially 777 everywhere you turn on license plates, digital clocks, and receipts. These aren't coincidences. They are Gabriel and Uriel coordinating the fabric of reality around you. They are pings from the celestial radar, letting you know that you are perfectly aligned and under constant surveillance by the hosts of heaven. The second sign is the quiet exodus. This is perhaps the most peaceful part of your new protection. You've noticed that certain toxic people, individuals who used to demand your energy, create drama, or subtly drain your spirit, are suddenly just fading away. There's no big fight. There's no dramatic confrontation. They are simply losing interest in you. They are finding reasons to disconnect, making excuses not to call, and moving into the background of your life. This is the angelic clearing of your energetic space. Raphael is sanitizing your circle, removing anyone whose frequency would contaminate the massive promotion you are about to step into. If your circle is getting smaller, don't panic. It's getting stronger. The third sign is a peace that defies logic. You are currently facing circumstances that should have you in a state of a nervous breakdown. The bills might still be high, the critics might still be talking, and the future might still look uncertain on paper. And yet, there is this deep, heavy, unshakable peace sitting in your chest. You're sleeping better than you have in years. You're worrying less, even though nothing has changed externally. That is the Raphael effect. He is recalibrating your nervous system, shielding your heart from the static of the world so you can hear the whispers of the Spirit. You are experiencing the shalom that surpasses all understanding, and it is a direct result of level 7 shielding. The fourth sign is prophetic clarity. You are having vivid, high-definition dreams that feel more like memories than imagination. You are waking up with downloads, strategies, business ideas, and solutions that you know didn't come from your own brain. You are starting to see the patterns behind people's behavior. You can feel a lie before it even leaves someone's mouth. That is Uriel transferring data from celestial databases into your consciousness. He is giving you the insider trading of the spirit realm so you can never be blindsided by deception again. The fifth sign is financial micro miracles. It starts small. An unexpected refund check, a debt that is inexplicably forgiven, a bill that comes in lower than anticipated, an old investment or a forgotten source of income suddenly resurfacing. These are the leak plugs of Gabriel. He is opening resource channels and closing the holes in your pocket, preparing the way for the massive financial mirror protocol where the wealth that was sabotaged from you is returned sevenfold. The sixth sign is the return of the remorseful. People from your past, some who treated you poorly or misunderstood you, are suddenly reaching out to apologize. They are expressing regret for things they did years ago. Why? Because the mirror protocol is making them feel the weight of their own actions. They can't find peace until they seek it from you. Heaven is forcing them to acknowledge the light they tried to dim. And the seventh sign, it is a rekindled fire for your mission. That dream you buried because it hurt too much to hope for it, it's coming back to life. That calling you tried to ignore, it's demanding your attention with a new, holy intensity. You are feeling a motivation that isn't all based on ego, but on a deep sense of must. That is the activation of your level 7 mandate. But listen to me closely. Chosen one, because the next 60 to 90 days are the most critical window of your life. I am telling you now, do not share your excitement with everyone. The enemies who gave your photo to an angel are still watching. They can't touch you anymore. The archangels have seen to that, but they are looking for any crack in your armor to plant seeds of doubt. They want to poison your new opportunities with their criticism. This is your test of sacred silence. Ordinary people need to post their wins to feel valid. Chosen souls move in silence until the victory is so loud it speaks for itself. Let your results be your testimony. Let the transformation of your life be the only announcement you make. In this 90-day window, I am reorganizing your entire reality. That job you thought was out of reach, it's moving toward you. That financial breakthrough, it's already in the mail. That divine partner who sees your soul and celebrates your mission, I am orchestrating that meeting right now. You are going to experience a cascade of favor that will make the last 10 years of struggle look like a bad dream that lasted only a second. Your secret is that you impressed heaven by maintaining your dignity when you had every right to seek destruction. And now, heaven is demonstrating what happens when it decides to protect its own. You are not alone in this. There are only about 300 souls on this planet right now carrying the same celestial marks you do. You are part of an elite remnant, and as you move forward, you will begin to recognize them. You will meet them in random places and feel a connection that goes deeper in 5 minutes than most people's relationships go in 20 years. When you find them, share this truth, strengthen each other, because together, under level 7 protection, you are an unstoppable force of light. As we move toward the final seal of this message, I want you to realize that you are no longer operating under the laws of this earth. You are under divine jurisdiction. Your enemies can plot, but they will fail. They can scheme, but they will fall into their own pits. You are seated in a place of authority that the world cannot negotiate with. The photo they used to condemn you has become the evidence of your divine origin. The attack they planned has become the activation of your greatest power. The dawn is here, and you are stepping into a life that was designed specifically for you by the hands of the Creator. The old rules are gone. The new normal has begun. You are protected, you are recognized, and you are officially untouchable. As we prepare to close this revelation and move into the final call to action, I want you to feel the presence of Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel standing at the four corners of your life. The emergency council has spoken. Your level 7 status is active. Now, let's talk about how to anchor this frequency so it never leaves you. We are moving from the revelation to the final seal. Don't you dare look back. As we bring this divine transmission to a close, it is time to anchor the profound truth you have received today. This journey from a desperate attack by your enemies to a reverent bow from a celestial warrior is more than just a story, it is the ultimate proof of your spiritual sovereignty. The core meaning of this revelation is that heaven does not judge you by the accusations of men. While the world was busy trying to find flaws in your photograph, an angel was busy recognizing the fire in your essence. You have learned the most valuable lesson, a chosen one can master. Supreme restraint is supreme power. By choosing silence over revenge, you didn't just act like the bigger person. You signaled to the higher dimensions that you were ready to be a steward of level 7 protection. You proved that your character is unshakable, and in doing so, you turned your enemy's greatest weapon into your own greatest promotion. The lesson for every soul watching is this: stay in your dignity. Trust in the invisible shield that has been authorized over your life. When you refuse to descend into the mud, you give heaven the legal right to lift you to the throne. Your enemies didn't expose your unworthiness. They accidentally activated your army. From this moment on, walk as one who is recognized by the archangels. The rules of your reality have changed, and the mirror protocol is your new normal. I am so honored to have shared this revelation with you. Your presence here is part of the 300 souls currently being activated across the globe. If this message resonated with your spirit and you are ready to walk in your level 7 protection, please comment 999 below to seal this frequency. If you didn't feel a connection today, please comment 0 so I can continue to refine and improve this content to better serve your spiritual journey. Your perspective matters. Please leave a comment sharing your thoughts or any signs you've been seeing. We rise by supporting the Remnant. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support gives me the motivation and the strength to continue bringing these suppressed revelations to light. Together, we are unstoppable. Heaven has bowed. Now it's time for you to soar. God bless you,